Egypt announces that the global food crisis is intensified now by climate change and geopolitical conflicts. Prime Minister Madbouli strongly condemns Israel's expanded military operations in Gaza. And Foreign Minister Abdel Ati updates EU foreign policy chief on Egypt's efforts to secure a ceasefire in Gaza. Hello and welcome to this evening's Egypt Bulletin here on Qnews. I'm Mark Summers. Egypt's G20 representative, Ambassador Raghi El Tribi, has emphasized that the global food crisis is now an unprecedented challenge intensified by climate change and geopolitical conflicts. Speaking at the G20 agricultural ministers meeting held in Cairo, he stressed that tackling food security requires boosting production, ensuring climate justice, reducing waste and improving supply chains. He called for genuine reforms to the global trade system to guarantee food access for all, condemning the use of starvation as a political weapon, particularly in Gaza. El Tribi highlighted Egypt's pride in private sector partnerships and its comprehensive development path focused on self-sufficiency and agricultural expansion, urging for concrete action beyond slogans. Egypt's Finance Minister Ahmed Qnews has emphasized the G20 as a vital platform for economic cooperation and political progress, actively involving civil society. He highlighted Egypt's commitment to supporting nearly 60 million citizens to prevent food security crises, underpinned by strong backing for farmers and an innovative school nutrition program addressing food challenges. Qnews revealed plans to expand agricultural land by 3 million fedans, strengthening food production. Additionally, he added that the Takaful and Karama social support program has aided 5 million families. He also said that Egypt dedicates 20% of its state budget to food security, demonstrating effective policies that enable the nation to confront and mitigate food insecurity issues. Egyptian Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has strongly condemned Israel's expanded military operations in Gaza and its attempts to render the region uninhabitable, forcibly displacing Palestinians. He denounced Israeli settler violence and settlement activities in the West Bank aimed at undermining the two-state solution. Speaking at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Plus Summit in Tianjin, Madbouli highlighted the devastating toll on Palestinian civilians and called for an immediate ceasefire, urging Israel to accept a temporary truce to negotiate peace and Gaza's reconstruction under the Arab Islamic plan. He reaffirmed Egypt's support for a Palestinian state within the 1967 borders and backed Chinese initiatives for global reforms and financial system overhaul to aid developing nations. Egypt has dispatched its 27th aid convoy under the Provision of Honour from Egypt to Gaza initiative, from Rafah to Gaza via Kerem Abu Salim border crossing. The second batch of Egypt's 27th humanitarian aid convoy has departed toward Gaza. This convoy carries essential supplies including rice, infant formula, flour, oil, sugar and cheese. Trucks also transport canned meals and legumes to support those in need. Despite ongoing Israeli bombardment on Gaza, efforts continue to deliver aid. However, Israel persists in blocking fuel trucks from entering the Gaza Strip. The Egyptian convoy includes aid sent from Arab and Islamic countries through Arish. Notably, this shipment contains large quantities of personal care items, specifically for women and children, underscoring the urgent humanitarian response amid conflict. Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati has highlighted the rapidly worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza, warning that conditions have reached famine levels. That came during his meeting with US Senators Chris Van Hollen and Jeff Merkley, where he cautioned against the grave consequences of expanding military operations in Gaza. The Egyptian Foreign Minister firmly reiterated Egypt's absolute rejection of any plans to forcibly displace Palestinians from their land. Abdel Ati also listened to the senators' impressions following their visit to Al Arish and Rafah, where they observed Egypt's ongoing efforts to deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza residents. The discussions underscored Egypt's commitment to alleviating suffering and upholding Palestinian rights. US senators visited Egypt's Rafah border crossing, inspecting aid efforts and discussing ongoing challenges limiting humanitarian supplies reaching Gaza. Now, Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati has praised the strategic partnership and anticipated the first Egypt-EU summit this year, emphasizing enhanced economic, trade and investment cooperation. That came during his meeting with EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas during the Bled Strategic Forum to discuss bilateral relations and regional developments. Abdel Ati updated Kallas on Egypt's efforts to secure a ceasefire, release detainees and deliver humanitarian aid amid Gaza's dire crisis, urging the EU to pressure Israel to halt aggression and respect international law. The meeting also covered Syria's sovereignty and Lebanon's security, with Egypt affirming support for regional stability and reconstruction efforts. Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati has affirmed Egypt's commitment to achieving a ceasefire and ensuring safe humanitarian access, praising Slovenia's balanced stance on the Palestinian cause. During his meeting with Slovenian Prime Minister Robert Golob at the Bled Strategic Forum, Abdel Ati praised Slovenia's recognition of Palestine last year. and urged the international community, especially in the EU, to pressure Israel to halt severe violations and end starvation tactics. He highlighted existing European mechanisms to support ceasefire efforts. Emphasizing strong Egypt-Slovenia bilateral ties, he encouraged expanding cooperation in energy, transport, ports and labour, inviting Slovenian investment in Egypt as a gateway to Africa and strengthening political consultations amid Slovenia's UN Security Council membership. Naval Major General Mahmoud Adil Fauzi, who is the commander of the Egyptian Navy, and Lieutenant General Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Gharib, Chief of Staff of the Royal Saudi Navy, discussed strengthening military cooperation between the two forces. The two sides held a joint meeting to explore ways to transfer and exchange expertise and to sign a cooperation protocol to support maritime security efforts. They also toured several Navy units to review the latest weapons systems recently acquired by the naval forces. Egypt and Sudan are exploring expanded cooperation in the mining sector and value-added industries, following a high-level meeting between the Egyptian Petroleum Minister, Karim Badawi, and the Sudanese Minerals Minister, alongside Sudanese mining officials in Cairo. Badawi highlighted the potential for joint ventures that leverage Sudan's mineral wealth for industrial development and global exports. He also noted Egypt's plans to establish specialized mining schools and expand research to advance the sector. Taha emphasized Sudan's commitment to building a strategic partnership, envisioning Egypt as a key export gateway. The two sides agreed to form joint working groups focused on training, technology exchange, and setting a roadmap for collaboration. Egypt's ambassador to Beirut, Ala Moussa, has affirmed Egypt's intensive efforts to bolster Lebanon's stability, stressing the urgent need for Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon. At a press conference, he underscored the importance of supporting Lebanon politically, economically, and in security, reiterating that exclusive state control over arms is a non-negotiable principle. Moussa clarified that achieving this is an internal Lebanese matter, while Egypt continues close coordination with all stakeholders to safeguard Lebanon's unity and stability. He urged that Lebanon's responses to international proposals must be clear and actionable, emphasizing Egypt's ongoing commitment to assist Lebanon and to promote calm on all fronts. Egypt has expressed profound condolences and sympathy to the Afghan people following the devastating earthquake that struck eastern Afghanistan, causing hundreds of deaths and thousands of injuries. In a statement by the Foreign Ministry, the Egyptian government affirms its full solidarity with Afghanistan during this tragic time, extending heartfelt sympathies to the families who lost loved ones. Egypt also wishes a swift and full recovery to all those injured in the disaster. Egypt's Minister of Labour, Mohamed Gebran, has announced that Thursday, September 4th, will be an official paid holiday for private sector workers under Labour Law number 14 of 2025, marking the Prophet Muhammad's birthday. Employers may still require staff to work if necessary, in which case employees are entitled to double pay or a substitute day off upon written request. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi also extended greetings to Egyptian Muslims abroad, wishing them success and praying for Egypt's continued prosperity. The occasion is widely celebrated in Egypt with prayers, songs, and traditional sweets. And that's our Egypt Bulletin for this hour. And here's a recap of today's main headlines. Egypt announces that the global food crisis is now intensified by climate change and geopolitical conflicts. Prime Minister Bulletin strongly condemns Israel's expanded military operations in Gaza. And Foreign Minister Abdel Ati updates EU Foreign Policy Chief on Egypt's efforts to secure a ceasefire in Gaza. That's all for now. Remember to stay updated by following Qnews for the latest developments.